Good. Meeting of the House Budget Committee will come to order. I want to welcome everybody and say what a privilege and an honor it is for me to have the opportunity to chair this. I look forward to working with all, and especially with my ranking member, Mr. Van Hollen, from the great state of Maryland. This is our organizational meeting, and we're here to consider the new committee rules and the Oversight Plan. Before we do that, I just want to say how much I enjoy this committee, and I know every member who has served on this committee enjoys it, and I know that the new members will as well. It's a great history of collegiality on this committee, and we intend to continue the bipartisan, collegial, and civil nature that has been carried on from previous chairman, Martin Sabo, and to Paul Ryan and others. We will have a lot of disagreements, but I would request that we do so in a respectful way, and I know that's the standard of this committee. I do want to recognize a couple folks. Rick May is our staff director on the Republican side, who is returning to the committee, and I want to recognize especially Tom Kahn, who's the staff director on the Democrat side, who's beginning his 20th year on the Budget Committee. So. Some would say he's a glutton for punishment. So, but we're excited to be able to move forward this year. We also have several new members on the Republican side of the aisle on the committee, and I'll introduce the Republican members before I turn it over to Mr. Van Hollen. Some of these members are here, and some of them aren't, but I'll include all of the new members from our side who are joining the committee. Mario Diaz-Balart from Florida, who's a returning member. Marlon Stutzman, returning member from Indiana. Mark Sanford from South Carolina. Aaron Schock is not able to be with us this morning, but he comes by way of the Ways and Means Committee from Illinois. Steve Womack from Arkansas. Dave Bratt from the great state of Virginia. Rod Blum from Iowa. Alex Mooney from West Virginia. Glenn Grothman from Wisconsin is here. Gary Palmer from Alabama. John Molinar from Michigan, and Bruce Westerman from Arkansas. It's now my privilege to recognize the gentleman from Maryland, Mr. Van Hollen.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and let me start by congratulating you, Tom, for ascending to the chairmanship, and I do look forward to working with you. We've had a chance to talk between ourselves, and I appreciate your comments about the tradition of this committee. We've always had sharp debates but civil debates, and I look forward to continuing that tradition with you. Welcome back to Rick May. Look forward to have our staff working closely with yours, and as you indicated, Tom Kahn has now hit 20 years.
Right.
So let me just say I wish I could say we had as many new members as you do, Mr. Chairman, but we do have a mighty group of new members, including Debbie Dingell, who is known to many of you from the state of Michigan, including Ted Lieu from the state of California, Donald Norcross from the state of New Jersey, and Seth Moulton from the state of Massachusetts. And the chairman indicated there'll be an opportunity, I think, at some later point for us to gather in a more informal setting so members can get to know each other and their backgrounds. Or I asked the chairman, is it okay if I can give you the full biography of the new members? And he said, well, we'll do that at another time. So, and I think that I appreciate you're setting up the opportunity to do that so we can all get to know each other. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Look forward to working with all of you. Congratulations to the new members on the Republican side as well as our new members. And welcome back to the returning members. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Van Hollen. And by way of just expanding on that a little bit, it is my intention to have some opportunities for bipartisan gatherings so we can talk about issues, get to know each other better so that we, again, have that collegial engagement here. I would note that your new members on the committee actually took the time to show up to the committee meeting this morning, so I appreciate that. We'll make note of those on our side of the aisle who aren't here. So. In the interest of time, if any other members have opening statements, I ask that you please submit them for the record. Today we meet to consider committee rules and procedures and to consider the committee's oversight plan. The proposed rules and oversight plan have been shared with all members of the committee, and it's my understanding that the minority has no objections to the rules and the oversight plan. The committee rules set out its procedures, which must be consistent with House rules. and the committee's oversight plan outlines proposed activities for this Congress. We'll now proceed to consider the committee rules for adoption. These rules are essentially the same rules that the committee operated on in the past under both Democratic and Republican majorities. The changes are largely technical to conform our committee rules with changes to the House rules that were made at the beginning of the 114th Congress. If there are any questions, I can ask staff to briefly review the changes to the rules.
Mr. Chairman, just on this issue, and I'm not going to object to the rules. As you indicate, the committee rules are essentially identical to the committee rules from last year. There's one technical change which we have no objection to. They do in some way incorporate the rules of the House or reference the rules of the House, and I just want to make it clear that our members, as we did on opening day, oppose the rules of the House. So don't want there to be any suggestion by approving the committee rules that we are somehow embracing the rules of the House. We have lots of issues with those particular rules, but with that understanding, we don't object to this crafting of the Budget Committee rule.
Duly noted. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to recognize the gentleman from Indiana, Mr. Rokita.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I ask unanimous consent that, consistent with Clause 4 of House Rule 16, the chairman be authorized to declare a recess at any time and that the markup document is considered read and open for amendment at any point.
Without objection, the request is agreed to. The committee will now proceed to consideration of the committee rules package. My understanding is that we, again, have no amendments, so I'd like to move to the adoption of the rules. I now recognize the gentleman from Indiana, Mr. Rokita, for the purpose of offering the necessary motions to adopt the rules package.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the committee adopt the chairman's mark as the rules of procedure of the Committee on the Budget for the 114th Congress.
Question is on the motion offered by the gentleman from Indiana. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The ayes have it, and the rules package is adopted. And I might take a moment to recognize those other new members who have joined us on our side. Mr. Sanford from South Carolina, Mr. Mooney from West Virginia, and Mr. Westerman, who just came in. You're right down front, Mr. Westerman. I'd now like to make an announcement at this time that because it's required by House rules, the committee rules contain a provision for the long disused practice of holding regular meetings on the second Wednesday of each month. The committee is notified pursuant to Committee Rule 2 that all regular meetings for the 114th Congress are canceled. Members will be notified of all meetings and additional meetings and special meetings, as is our customary process. The committee will now consider the oversight plan of the Committee on the Budget for the 114th Congress. Under both House and committee rules, the Budget Committee is required to adopt an oversight plan by February 15th. The plan before the committee, as shared with the minority staff last week, summarizes the areas in which the Budget Committee has oversight. These include the budget resolution, establishment and enforcement of special controls over the federal budget, the oversight of agencies involved in budget execution and enforcement, and budget process reform. Over the next several weeks, the committee will hold a series of hearings on important budget-related matters, very similar to what we have done in the past. I would like to emphasize that this committee is not binding and therefore does not preclude the committee from holding hearings on other topics as the need arises or circumstances change. This plan has been shared with all members of the committee, and it's my understanding that there will be no amendments.
Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent that the oversight plan is considered read.
Without objection, the oversight plan is considered as read. I now recognize the gentleman from Indiana for the purpose of offering the necessary motion for the adoption of the oversight plan.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the committee adopt the chairman's mark as the oversight plan for the Committee on the Budget for the 114th Congress.
Question is on the motion offered by the gentleman from Indiana. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The ayes have it, and the oversight plan is adopted. I ask unanimous consent that the committee be authorized to issue and print copies of compilations of laws and rules relating to the congressional budget process. Without objection, so ordered. I recognize the gentleman from Indiana.
Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent that the staff be authorized to make technical, conforming, or stylistic changes to the committee rules and oversight plan the rules of the Committee on the Budget be issued as a committee print. The chairman be authorized to submit the rules for printing in the Congressional Record within 30 days, and that the chairman be authorized to submit the oversight plan to the committees on House Administration and Oversight and Government Reform. Mr. Chairman, the chairman be authorized to hire James Bates as a consultant on a temporary basis, subject to approval by the Committee on House Administration.
Without objection, so ordered. That concludes our business. I would like to just point out for members that we will hold our first hearing on January 27th next week, and Doug Elmendorf, the CBO director, will be presenting his budget outlook. So make certain that everybody have an opportunity to put that on their schedule. Gentleman from Washington State.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Bates, you're going to hire, who is he and what does he do?
Your staff has been provided with his bio and the like. He will be assisting us on budget council activities for a period of 4 months.
For 4 months?
Yes, he's been on the staff before. In fact, he was staff director of the Budget Committee before.
Thank you.
That concludes the items of business on the agenda for the House Budget Committee's organizational meeting, and at this time, the committee stands adjourned. Thank you all.